I'm doing good. You having a good day?
So good. It's beautiful here today.
Where are you at today?
I am in Mobile, well, actually Theodore, but I claim Mobile. So Mobile, Alabama.
Good. And you're there with your family. Are you from Mobile?
I kind of grew up in Gulfport, Mississippi, so it's just about an hour from here. My husband's from Mobile, so we got married 5.5 years ago, and I moved here when we got married.
So you're not far from home, though.
No, not far at all. My parents, we get to see each other pretty often. It's nice.
That's good. And you've got a little family.
I do. I have, well, a husband, and then I have two little girls. Ashlyn is 4, and then I have Kaylin. She is 14 months. So they are so much fun. They're a handful, but a blast.
That's fun. How do you juggle some days of business, family, and mom life?
Oh gosh, it's so hard. There's no easy answer to that. I don't. I just try to live by a schedule and stay very scheduled, and I try to not work a whole lot when they're here, when they're awake. My oldest is in school now, so that makes it a lot easier. And so I feel like I have a lot more time on my hands. But and Kaylin is a very good baby. I've really been blessed. She's really good. But some days I just can't get anything done, and I work a lot at night. And then, it's nice because my husband's schedule, when he gets off work at night, he watches the girls when I shoot and stuff like that. And, I have a lot of help. So it
That's
kind of all works.
good. My husband and I don't have children yet, so when we do, I'll probably do another interview with you. Get your tips and tricks on how you make it manage with the family and business. So how long have you been in business?
Right at 4 years, but I haven't really been, when I first started, it was kind of slow. I didn't really, it just took me a while to kind of get to where I wanted to be. And so it didn't just catch on really easily. And so 4 years, but two years really, I guess I would say more full time. I'm working consistently.
That's awesome because I've been following you. I don't know. I guess you commented on something of mine, and anyway, I started following you, and just over the last couple of years, have seen your business just kind of blossom. And you do mostly, what's your kind of niche?
I kind of do more weddings than anything. I do a little bit of everything whenever I have time, but I kind of set aside my weekends to shoot weddings and my engagements, that sort of thing. But I do families and some seniors occasionally throughout the weeks, on the weekdays, but mostly the weekends are reserved for my wedding. Are you? Sorry.
I think we broke up a little bit. You
Yeah,
there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Technology.
I
Yes,
know.
it's a technology at its best. So you're mostly doing weddings. That's kind of your love and your
Yeah, I prefer, I like everything, but I really enjoy weddings. When I first started, I didn't shoot a lot of weddings. It kind of took me a little bit to get into that market. But now that I'm doing that more consistently, it's what I love. And I love the clients I get to work with. I have some really great brides, and I love. So I love getting to be at the weddings and seeing it all happen. I love engagement shoots, and I just love everything that goes along with shooting weddings.
That's great. All right, so a couple of things we want to talk about today. I'm kind of letting our video catch up. I think we were a little bit behind there. So a couple of things I want us just to talk about today is basically give us your best tips for growing your business. Because basically you've told me just in our little conversation that you kind of, quote, started 4 years ago, but yet you kind of just see yourself as a 2-year business now. And the first year, of course, you had 0 weddings, that being your now passion and love. And then your second year, you told me you had 2 weddings. Your third year, you up to 7 weddings. And then now here in 2014, you've already shot 22 weddings. And then you said for next year, you have how many?
I have, I think I have 13. Yeah, I have 13 scheduled for next year. A couple more that I should book in the next couple of days. So,
Sure.
um,
And that's exciting because we're not even in 2015. We're not even in like the busy season yet for shooting weddings, which down here, since we're not too far apart, a couple hours, we're both in the South. Our wedding season is what, typically April, May, June?
yeah, April, May, June are the busiest months, and then it kind of takes a break there. I feel like in the heat of the summer in August and September.
Yeah.
Then I feel like it picks up again in the October, November time. So.
So I'm going to get lots more too. If you already had 22 this year and then you're looking at 13 next year, that's great. So just let's take it from the top. What would you say has been your number one reason for success in building your business this strongly in a short amount of time?
I think mostly is just kind of creating that web presence, taking lots of pictures and putting lots of pictures in front of people, even if I'm not busy, to kind of pretend like I'm busy,
Sure.
and just constantly posting new stuff on Facebook, social media, my website. I would say 90% of my clients come from seeing me online of some form, either through social media or through my website. They Googled me, and so that's kind of where I think it took me a while to kind of understand how that all works together. But once I figured out how to get, I guess, a good web presence, then I kind of feel like it just comes, I don't really have to try too hard. I have some word of mouth clients, but I really feel like the majority of them that's kind of where I get most of my work from.
That's great, because when you say taking lots of pictures, that's one thing people ask me all the time is, how can I, put myself out there more? How can I practice? How can I get better? And I tell them, shoot, 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 shoot. Even if you're not busy with sessions, and like you said, it's just, shooting your family, or you're out on a, trip with your family, or a, day at the zoo, just posting pictures and keeping our social media active for hopefully future clients, and then just our fans and followers. And so you kind of reiterated that, just taking lots of pictures and constantly posting them. Do you ever intertwine your personal on your business page?
I do. I try to have a good balance, because whenever I follow photographers, I don't want to constantly see a ton of stuff. I'm following them for their work, but I think it's important too for my followers to know who I am and to kind of get a better understanding. And I feel like if they can connect with me, they're more likely to hire me as their photographer. And so I do try to post. I try not to post too much, but I do like to post things every once in a while. I use Instagram a lot, and I post a lot of personal things on Instagram. And occasionally I'll even post personal blog posts. If we go on vacation, I'll post pictures from our vacation, or my girl's birthday, anniversary, big things like that. Then I'll post to my blog, just to kind of get my clients and readers to get to know me a little better as well.
Awesome, because I think that sometimes is a hard balance of, like you said, we want to connect with our clients on a personal level, but then, like you said, representing our work more versus our personal. I tend to post a lot of personal just to connect with people. You talked about Instagram. You post a lot of personal on that. We talked about your blog. You kind of intertwine, some personal big moments in life there. And then what about Pinterest? Where do you see that involves in your business and is helping you grow any?
Honestly, whenever I first started, I love Pinterest. I love just looking on it. But I never really thought it was very valuable for my business until recently. I pin quite a bit of things on Pinterest from my blog. If I do a shoot, then I'll pin just a couple of my favorite images, and I make sure to use keywords like the location I shot at, or Mobile, Alabama photographer, or something that I want people to be able to find if they're looking on Pinterest. And so I've had, actually, over the last 2 or 3 months, I've had a couple of jobs booked from Pinterest. They said, "Oh, I found you on Pinterest. I saw a picture on Pinterest." I also got to do a job for a magazine because they found me on Pinterest as well. So I do think it's really beneficial, and I think in in today's age, the more social media that we can get on, the better. So Pinterest is great. I typically don't have a lot of I don't have images that have thousands and thousands of repins, so it kind of discouraged me at first, like, oh, my pictures aren't being repinned 16,000 times.
Exactly.
But people do see it. They can search, Mobile, Alabama wedding photographer, or even if they're just looking for ideas for types of weddings that were done at a particular location, and then they'll see your images pop up. So that's kind of where I found it more beneficial for me personally, is just using those keywords in the description whenever I pin something.
Absolutely, and I'm like you, is the more social media avenues we can be on and reach people, really it's just helping us, it's aiding us, and Pinterest is up and coming. Like you said, it's just, in the past, it's been for just the moms wanting ideas for birthday parties, or just, a senior getting on looking for ideas, but it's becoming a search engine, and I think if us business owners could understand that and really see the value in that, I think we'd have more photographers using it for their business, not just to promote their images, like you said, get 16,000 likes or something like that, but just to have that extra, basically SEO is what it is, but another search engine. And so that's great testimony. I love hearing stories like that you've actually gotten business off of it. That's awesome.
I know. I always ask my clients, like, where did you find out about me, or where did you hear me for the first time? Because it's curious to see. And when they say Pinterest, I'm like, really?
Right.
I'm kind of shocked.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's great to hear. Now, as far as your web presence, what do you have for web presence outside of social media, obviously?
I do have a and blog kind of in one. I don't have a separate website and blog. I just kind of have it all together, and it's done through WordPress. And so I have, I guess you could just say it's a blog, in that I use a template through ProPhoto. It's super, super easy to customize, and it's really relatively inexpensive. And so that's what I use for my blog, and it's super easy to figure out search engine optimization and to get presence known through using it that way. I've done other things in the past, like I've tried having a website and a blog. I've tried having, 2 different blogs, one for my wedding clients, one for my portraits. But I've just found it's just, for me, it works best just to have it all in the one. And so I've just recently, over the last 4 or 5 months, switched to just having the one site, just a blog site. So that's kind of what I use now.
Right, and that's the way mine's set up. It's like the blog site in one. So if the client comes to the website, it's also integrated with the blog and vice versa. And I think that's valuable for photographers like you and I that do blog consistently. It shows our everyday work, and like you said, it gives them a little personal insight as well in that blog. But just having them integrated, like you said, it's really a lot less work for us too, which is nice because we have so many hats that we wear. We're not just photographers. So having that, web presence being simplified, and like you said, it's easy to customize if you don't have a lot of money to throw out, and then as well as just overall that WordPress and ProPhoto is very inexpensive. So as far as you said, I think you had mentioned to me you have a plugin for your SEO. Which plugin do you use for WordPress?
I use all-in-one SEO. It's super easy to use, and on every post it'll have like a section to like title it, to put your keywords in there, to put a description, and I feel like that's really helped me a ton. Every time I blog, I search for keywords that would be good to use with that particular post. I title it, and I try to title it something that I would want. If I was searching for a photographer, I kind of try to that I was searching for. And that's really helped. And then I also use a lot of keywords in there as well. So the plugin is so easy to use. It's just right there whenever I do my post. It's just right there, and I just input all that information. And I feel like that's really, really helped my SEO a lot.
Yeah, I know, like, for those that may not have WordPress, basically a plugin is kind of like, I tell people to simplify words, it's kind of like an app that helps us on our blog and on our website. And so I don't use the one you were mentioning, all-in-one SEO. I use Yoast, Y-O-A-S-T, but it's the same thing. Like it gives me like the keyword, and then I can put the title. It kind of keeps me on track in my mindset of SEO and helps me make sure I've covered all my bases. And it sounds like same for you.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. I think I have a friend that uses Yoast as well, and it looks the same exact thing. So this is just the first one I found, and it works for me, so I've stuck with it.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned you had shot for a magazine over in the Mobile area, and that Pinterest, came through that. But how else have you connected with like other local photographers or vendors, and how do you see that's helped your wedding business in the industry?
I think it's huge. When I first started getting into weddings, I would try to connect with like wedding planners and florists, and I would be like, let me shoot some stuff for you, and and that worked really well for me. But I found even more valuable than connecting even with those wedding vendors is to connecting with other local photographers, because for example, I can only book so many weddings a year, and I've referred 15 weddings out already for 2015 just because I'm already booked on those dates. So if I can get a good connection with another wedding photographer, I send her clients, she sends me clients, and it's just to me that's the best wedding vendor to connect with is other photographers, and it's something that at first I just thought, oh, I don't think that would really help me out very much. But the more I do it and the more wedding photographers I get close with, I'm constantly getting referrals from other local photographers that are, if they get an inquiry for a date they're already booked on, then they'll be like, oh, I know this other photographer, try her out. So that's kind of really helped us out. I kind of send them clients, they send me, and it works out really nice.
That's awesome. And basically that's what... Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I do have some really good connections with some wedding planners as well, and that's really awesome. They send me clients as well, and I love the wedding planners that I work with, but I do find that I try not to connect with just one type of vendor. I try to connect with, all of them, the wedding planners, the florist. When I shoot a wedding, I ask each of the vendors, is there anything that you particularly need pictures of? I send every single vendor there all of the pictures for them to use, the florist, the caterer, anything like that. That way that they can just have a good relationship with me and, will refer me out in the future.
That's great. And basically, you're talking about like connecting with other photographers, and I think, when a lot of photographers start out, they feel like that's almost like you're crossing a line. Like, we shouldn't be friends with other photographers because I'm encroaching on their business, they're going to encroach on mine. In reality, when we are connected with other photographers, it's basically like word of mouth. Just even like as with our clients talking about us, when we're friends and collaborating with other photographers, like you said, it's just word of mouth. When they're booked, they can refer to you and vice versa. So I think that's great business practice, on your part, just to connect with those other photographers and not feel threatened and vice versa, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I think why I was nervous about doing it at first was, because I didn't want to send someone a client that, could potentially have been mine, and it was just kind of a pride thing, I guess.
Sure.
But it's one of I get a ton of clients from doing that, and it's really fun too, to be able to see other businesses to prosper and to do well and be successful as well. So I enjoy it.
That's great. So we talked a lot about our business, the social media aspect of it, and we all understand that, but I don't think, sometimes we realize the value in it because we do wear so many hats as a photographer running a business. But on the flip side, let's kind of turn it all around as far as your clients and them being a word of mouth and them helping grow your business over the years. What have you done for them in return of just maybe, I know you've mentioned you do like a thank you or things like that. What do you do to make that client feel like they're your only client at the moment and they're your best, most amazing client?
I do try to make my clients feel extra special. With my wedding clients, whenever we have a consultation, I always bring a consultation gift, chocolates, bridal magazines, just kind of something personal just so that they can just have a good first impression. And I love chocolate, so I think that's a great thing to bring them. And then I also, while I'm working with them, because I usually have whenever I book a bride, I'm usually in correspondence with them for about 9 months between them booking the wedding, engagement pictures, and leading up to the wedding. And so I have a lot of time for interaction. So, for birthdays, I make sure, even if I don't necessarily get them a gift, I try to, if I know about Facebook's amazing. I friend all of my clients because I can just have a better relationship with them. And so I'll try to, always wish them a happy birthday. I try to go to bridal showers if if they invite me. I always go to a bridal shower, bring a gift on their wedding day. Just something small, a frame picture, or I have done canvases before, just to kind of make them feel extra special. After the wedding, I always send a thank you note as well. I just really enjoyed working with them, and I feel like that's just really helped to kind of just make them feel extra special. It's just the small things. But just little things, a thank you note, or even shooting over an email, I'm thinking about you, is there anything you need, can I help you with any wedding planning, just that sort of thing I feel like is kind of really important to make them feel special and have that connection with them.
And it builds that friendship with you and them as that client friendship, and then so the day of, they're a lot more comfortable with you. They feel like they know you. That boosts their confidence a lot. And then as far as like I know you mentioned just taking care of your clients and the things you do. What's your turnaround time for weddings?
I try to get their images back super fast because whenever I was a bride, I wanted like the day after I got wedding, I'm like, I want to see pictures, So I try to get them really fast. I say 2 weeks, but I usually get them back a little bit 4 to 6 weeks, but I never have gone past 2 weeks just because I think it's really important to get their images back. I don't do, I've heard some photographers doing like next day. That's a little crazy for me because I do have a family, but I do try to get their images back in under 2 weeks just so that they can have them. And, you know, I have clients that have told me, oh, my best friend got married and she didn't see her images for 4 to 6 months, you know, and so I do try to, and with technology, and you know, I feel like I can edit pretty quick, and I don't do a ton of editing. You know, I just do minor enhancements and tweaking. So it doesn't take me, you know, days to edit a wedding. So that has
which is great. And I think because the digital age we live in, everybody expects like, oh, you've taken the picture, you should be able to just email it to me. Not realizing what we have behind the scenes, but that's just society. And so if we can get it turned back around quickly, that makes them excited. That makes them fall in love with you, I think, even more, and then want to talk about you even more to their next, you know, their friends that are up and coming and getting married as well. Do you do any kind of like referral gifts or anything like that?
I do. If a bride sends me a wedding, you know, and then I will gift them a canvas or a print, whatever their choice is. Also, if I've had some like referrals that have come from not even my clients that are just like, oh, I saw you on Facebook, you know, you should use her as a photographer, and I always give them like a gift certificate to use for pictures, you know, if they want family pictures or some sort of thing like that, just because they could have referred them. I want them to know I appreciate referring them to me.
That's awesome. So overall, if you could kind of recap what we've already talked about, what would you say, because we've talked about growing, you know, your tips with growing your business with social media, the blogging, the SEO, we've talked about, you know, your website being integrated with your blog, we've talked about your referral gifts, we've talked about the word of mouth and vendors. What would you say has been your most successful tip?
Number one is my SEO and getting your search engine optimization, because when people search, that's the number one way I think people look for photographers, is to search wedding photographer in Mobile, Alabama, or wedding photographer, you know, wherever you're at. And so I find that if I can be on that page 1 of Google, and I fluctuate, sometimes I'm not number 1, sometimes I'll be number 1 or number 3, but I'm always on page 1. So I feel like if I can just be one of the first ones they see, they click on my website, and if my website looks good, you know, it looks clean and my images look good, I feel like then I can have a higher rate of people, you know, sending me an inquiry, wanting information about their wedding. So I think that's huge, is just getting to have a good presence with Google.
Absolutely. No, I 100% agree. And that's something I think that a lot of photographers drop the ball on because it's scary to them. They don't understand it. They don't know what it means. They don't know where to even start with it. And so actually another interview that I just did yesterday, that'll be launching here soon, she's talked about it. So that'll be a great little collaboration with our interview. So, well, Jenny, thank you so much for taking the time to even just talk to us. Let me interview you and get your tips, and I hope it helps lots of people. What I'm going to do, though, on the bottom of this blog post with this interview is just give them your information, your website, your blog, Facebook, all that grand stuff, so people can connect up with you. So.
And I did think about, I do have, there's a book that search engine optimization was kind of foreign to me when I first started this thing. And Zach Perez, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he has a book, it's the SEO book for photographers, amazing, and I recommend to everyone because it just really kind of puts it on a level that I could understand. And so I really recommend that book to everyone because it's super easy to understand.
Yes, and I am familiar with him, so what I'm going to do, I'll add that link to the bottom of this too, that way others can dig into that book. So thanks for that resource. That's great. So, well, thank you so much. I hope you have a good day, and thanks. I'll let you know when this goes live.
Awesome. Thank you.